to submit, or we're going to come up. In other words, the objective of this 3-day event is an output-driven outcome. Diba? Kumbaga sa OEA, kailangan may outcome tayo after the 3-day event, or the research Writeshop. Okay, that's why I told Ma'am Annabelle, we make it will not be enough. You want to, kasi marami tayong i-discuss from the nature of research writing to publication to the selection mismo ng publication. We'll recall some of the research principles in writing at the same time. Yung pag-write na talaga ng paper. I know you guys are excited because some of you have already papers there. No, we are not confident because kulang tayo sa unang-una, di ba, yung knowledge of publication. You may have the knowledge of writing already, pero kulang pa tayo maybe on the processes of publication, okay? And that's what we are going to enlighten, okay, this morning. That's why I tried to borrow the phrase "fear no more." Okay, this is an intertextual title to our research Writeshop. Okay, fear no more. You should not fear. Rather, we should fear writing research paper and publishing, because what's the main reason? Because this is the trend of the current century. Diba? This is the trend of the current century. If you do not write a research publication, research output, research publication, it makes you as a full-fledged academician, okay? An instructor, professor, even a student. And the trend right now is not anymore, the ego and co-author with. There is no fast and hard rule as to, sir, sino ba yung pwedeng mag-publish? Okay? Walang nagsasabi, walang naglilimita kung sinong pwedeng mag-publish. Everybody in the academe, okay? Or even one who is not a member of the academe or of the academic institution could publish. Okay, so long that you have that knowledge of publication. But most of the time, yung mga nagpa-publish ay nasa academe. Kasi, nagpo-produce ng knowledge. Diba? We are the knowledge generator. Diba? The knowledge generator, the knowledge user. We are using the knowledge, kaya kailangan natin mag-research. Okay? Why is it a major trend at the current century? Because it's one of the skills, okay, required by the 21st century teaching and learning process. Makikita yan. If you're going to review what are the skills in the 21st century teaching and learning framework, research is one of the processes. Research is one of the skills na kailangan nating acquire, di ba, at the same time, gamitin. For us as teachers, di ba, we research what we teach. We do not only depend on, di ba, the stored knowledge, because we have to validate our stored knowledge by research. At the same time, our students also do research to reinforce learning. Reinforce learning at the same time, okay, make learning to happen inside the classroom and outside the classroom. In other words, research is a lifelong learning skill. Diba? I think it's only highlighted at the current centuries because we are in an era, or we are in a period where information is vast and various. Diba? Napakalawak at napakataas marami. Sometimes, we cannot anymore distinguish is credible and incredible, or hindi ka panipaniwala. Diba? That's why it's also one of the things that we are going to talk about, how do we assess, how do we evaluate the information that we use in our in research writing so that it becomes publishable. Okay? So again, good morning to the whole ACC community, to the officials who are here, to our Madam Vice President, Dr. Lisa, and of course the faculty members, the program heads, our dear students. Good morning, and thank you for welcoming me back here at Abuin Community College. Actually, I was a bit late for, I think, 30 to 1 hour kasi I still dropped by at the university since we are celebrating the National Women's Culminating Program namin ngayon, the National Women's Month. So happy National Women's Month. Can we give a round of applause? Ayan, to our dear mentors, okay, for also giving their voices to the academic community and to the community in general. Okay, let's go straight to our the agenda for the 3-day research Writeshop. By the way, I appreciate, by the way, this kind of activity because aside from it's well organized, no, well attended. Pero yung ano ba, yung passion nyo, nakikita ko first day pa lang na okay, I am very hopeful that at the end of this 3-day event, we will be able to publish at least a skeleton, a draft of our paper, okay, for publication. So for the 3-day research Writeshop, we are going to journey on this agenda. Day 1, we'll be talking about the nature of journal article writing and publication. Although this is just a simple recall for everybody, but we need to recall or review important elements that will guide us in the publication process. Scholarly writing techniques, a review on paragraph building, in-text citations in the referencing, and hopefully this afternoon, we'll be able to target writing the introduction of our paper. And tomorrow, we'll continue on writing the methodology, writing the results and discussion, and writing the conclusion and implications. Okay, so why do we have four parts only of our paper? Unlike the traditional format, or we call the German format, or the chapter-based format, that we follow chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because in publication, hindi yan tatanggapin. I-reject yan. Okay, ng journal na sasabitan mo. You have to paper so that it follows the IMRAD or the IMRAD format. Okay? Kasi since the journal publishing or journal publication is very commodified, ano yung tawag na commodification? Commercialized yung publication, kailangan matipid. Okay? Kasi, di ba, the more pages, the more ang babayaran. Okay, yung exposure sa internet. So, kailangan maliit lang. At the same time, condense, compact yung information. Okay? Then on day 3, we will do a presentation and creating of outputs for publication. And of course, our testimony to journeying to publishing the articles. Alright, let's begin our session 1. The nature of journal article writing and publication. Alright, let me introduce to you back on the general process of research writing. When we are writing a research, we naturally follow this schema, kumbaga, okay, or framework. First, we conceptualize the problem, okay, and that includes, highlighting the topic, di ba, the hierarchy of identifying the problem, you start with the topic. Okay, ano yung topic? Let's say it's in education. And what problem in education tayo nag-research? Okay, tapos from problem, we go down, we narrow it down, di ba? From problem, we identify the questions. Okay? Questions serve as our objectives. Okay, so that's conceptualization of the problem. In the curriculum, it's where our students, English or Biosci or Science or Filipino, I think, curriculum. How many semesters do you have? Only one? Two. Kasi sa LM you have two. In fact, yung dalawa hindi pa nga matapos-tapos yung mga students. Kaya, this time, our major challenge kasi sa mga students namin, if you cannot finish your research or thesis, you cannot graduate. They cannot really graduate. I don't know if it's true also here. Kasi talagang we really push our students to finish their research papers, their thesis. Kailangan may maipakita silang libro bago sila mag-graduate. Okay? And it also serves as a motivation to the students to, increase the research productivity of the university. So, proposal writing yan. And then we go to gathering the data. Okay, pag na-approve na, di ba, nagpa-paneling, tapos na evaluation. Okay, tapos, okay na for data gathering procedure, administration of test, kung ano mga niya, mag-interview or what. So, that's data gathering procedure or process. After that, you write the research report. No? So, sa chapters 4 and 5, okay, until recommendation, tapos nakapag-final oral defense ka na. Diba? So, this is the reality of writing research, most especially in the Philippines. Until 1, 2, 3 lang tayo. Sometimes, hindi nag-forward to disseminating the findings through presentations on publication. Kasi dapat, yung research outputs natin, okay, is disseminated through presentation, research presentations, and publication. Okay? So, let us try to adopt this framework in ACC. Na, hindi lang mag-stop tayo. We will not just stop, okay, or finish the whole research project, okay, on writing the research report. At the same time, we move forward to finishing the whole process. Actually, in dissemination, hindi pa nga yan. Hindi yan yung last. Because this process is a cycle. Pag nakapag-publish ka na, hindi yan yung katapusan. Kasi, sometimes you have to revalidate, di ba, your research, or focus your problem in another angle. Papalitan naman sa conceptualization and so on and so forth. Okay, so at least, no? At this time, ACC is trying to move forward and does not only stop on, trying to move forward and not only stop at the research, writing of the research report, but then we are gearing towards dissemination. Okay, at least makapag-publish tayo. Sabi nga ni Ma'am Annabelle, Sir, kahit isa lang yung i-publish namin, or dalawa, okay na yan. So, Ma'am, lahat tayo magpapublish. Okay ba yan, people? Okay, so let us challenge ourselves that at the end of this research session, okay, we will have a tangible output, concrete output, both students and teachers. Okay, either solo authorship or collaborative authorship. Okay? So mamaya, pipili kayo, magsusolo kayo or magko-collaboration. Diba? Collaboration of research outputs. We can do, pairing or triad or maybe a group. Diba? Maybe a group. Pero, tingnan mo rin kung ano yung purpose mo while you're publishing. Diba? Pero, of course, diyan pumapasok na yung politics of publication. Kasi, if your purpose is to, ako, hindi ko dapat sinasabi. If your purpose is, to be promoted, mas maganda yung solo authorship. Kasi, buong-buo yung point. It's only you. Pero kung collaboration, that is the nature of, I'm telling you kasi sa university, ito yung nangyayari. Sa collaboration, you divide the points among the authors. Pero, it doesn't matter in institutional accreditation. Hindi yan nag-matter. Nag-matter lang yan for promotion. Di ba? Pero for academic or institutional leveling or accreditation, it doesn't matter. Kasi the trend now is collaboration. We can actually collaborate, okay? I can write a paper with you guys, okay? And that's okay, that's good. Meaning, there is a sense of collaboration, diba? You can also collaborate with anyone who is bearing that field of expertise. Okay, let's move on. Why do we publish? Why do we publish? According to Dangal, Hamal, and Mire, 2017, it's because you want to share. You want to share the work to larger scientific and scholarly communities and get feedback. Okay, what feedback do we want? Okay, is my result generalizable? Tama ba yung result? For example, you talk about challenges of ACC students. Diba? Sa ito, let's say, ng mga taga-Samar, okay, they would like to get feedback that ACC, your research is actually an illumination. Your research is helping us to understand the challenges of our students. Why? Because we have the same challenges. In other words, you're able to help them, okay, validate their empirical observations or their personal observations. And that is through research. Okay? So we want to also get feedback according to the generalizability of our results. Second, of course, according to MAGAR for academic promotions. For example, universities or colleges are required, diba, to produce research output because it's part of our threefold or fourfold functions. Diba? Research, extension, and production. May pang-apat pa, production. We produce learning materials, we produce modules, we produce instruction materials, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay? So research is at the core, actually, is the heart, okay, of the fourfold functions. Kasi when we teach, we use research. When we do community extension-based activities, we do research. Or is research-based. When we produce learning materials, it's research-based as well. Diba? Okay, so research becomes the soul, okay, of the fourfold functions of at the university or at the college level. Another is to increase the research productivity and culture of an institution. Okay, so we want to also get involved here. The research culture, increase the research culture, both students and teachers. Okay, both students and teachers. I don't know, in ACC, kasi para rin ma-increase yung research productivity, you also have to reinforce our faculty and students. So this could be one of the proposals when you make the research manual, the engineer, they can actually allocate budget no, for our faculty and students. Kasi, silang budgetan. Recognize students and teachers who publish every year. Okay? So, i-share ko lang sa example. Okay? Publication award. Wala yan. Pero, when the, okay, naging aggressive na university kasi, if you do not increase the research culture, what will happen? Maapektuhan yung ibang functions. Okay, so it was one of the motivations for students to recognize yung mga students, teachers na nakapag-publish. Bigyan sila ng award. Okay, both the, students and mo, you get 20 papers in a year and count how much he got. International record, that's 15,000. Pero kung scopus or index, kasi ito yung mga, ito yung kailangan. Okay, scopus and index, 20,000. So kung 20 scopus index papers, 20 times 20,000, how much? 400,000. Diba? So, ano yan, pang-akit sa mga faculty and students. So, you can start a little, for example, or propose it na research or best thesis, they do research, we do research pageants. You can also do it here. No, magpa-contest kayo sa mga students from different colleges. I-contest nyo yung mga thesis outputs nila. And then, after a year, we award the best thesis or the best research. Parang ganon. And then, you can also send our students to research presentations, such as the Math Language and Literature Research Conference that some of your students here have attended. Okay? So, we are organizing research opportunities for students. Actually, are catering to the teachers. Yung mga students being left behind. In fact, they are the center. Okay? Kumbaga, also include them in the process of research. Another is institutional accreditation and leveling. Ayan, kailangan yan kasi kung gusto nyo mag-level up, di ba, or there are accreditation processes such as check, monitoring, ano pa? Di ba may kasi private, may pa-ASCO ba yun? Or yung sa amin na-AAPO for state view. Sa mga private, I think yung pa-ASCO, I cannot remember. So if what you submit, kumbaga, your school for leveling, research will be one of your accomplishments. And of course, not to perish as a scholar. Kaya sabi ko kanina, if you are an academician, research would be one of your identities. Okay? As a teacher, as a faculty, as a professor. Here are some strategies in publishing, according to Wambaleta 2018. Okay? We summarize them into 5. First is follow the journal style of formatting the article rather than the book format. Okay. So if you have their dissertation, thesis, or master's thesis, we can condense your book into a journal format. Kunyari, meron kang dissertation. They can actually make 2 to 3 research papers, publishable research papers. Policies at the journal very carefully. We have to study the journal that we are choosing because every journal is unique. Okay? Kaya maraming na-reject kasi we do not follow the editorial policy, the author's guidelines of the journal. Okay? That's why the first process, if you want to get published, okay, study the journal. Study the journal. In fact, hindi naman po pwedeng mag-submit ka ng more than an article to more than 2 journals. So it's only one article to one journal. Hindi pwedeng isang research article to 5 journals. That's bawal. A violation yan. Kasi it means parang tumaya ka ng isang article to 5 journals. So kung sino yung mag-accept, doon ka hindi yan pwede. Okay? Kasi that's unethical to the publication process. Okay, so that's why kung gusto mo talagang may publish yan at iwasan yung rejection. Kasi maraming nare-reject, di ba? Hindi lang sa other aspects of our lives, pati rin sa publication. Okay? And lahat tayo na may experience being rejected in publication. I have already experienced one. Okay? The reason may be hindi ka nag-follow sa editorial policies or your paper is not aligned to the objective or to the tawag dito, objective or to the field, kumbaga. Let's say your field is on social science, IT. Kung malaki talaga yung disparity kasi dapat doon ka nagsubmit sa mga social sciences na journal. Kasi the more chance or bigger possibility that you get accepted and so forth. So you can easily read that by visiting the journal. Next characteristic is appearance. Okay, how does a journal appear? How does a journal look like? So, ayan, hindi pinakita ko na kanina sa inyo. Journal looks like this. This one is Indonesian Journal of Applied Linguistics. This is also Scopus. Okay? This is how the journal looks like. Iba siya sa isang magazine. Although a journal is also a periodical, but it looks different from a magazine, a newspaper, and other periodicals. Okay? So it has ayun, nandyan yung publication ethics, editorial team, author's guidelines, focus and scope, index or indexation and reputation. Okay, so ayan yung appearance or how a journal looks like. Another one, the qualitative report journal. Ito, magsabi tayo dito, this is monthly. Yan yung kanyang publication. Another is authority. The authority is you, the writer. So, sa isang publication, makikita mo doon, pag nakapublish ka na, yung name mo as the publisher, at the same time, the title of your paper. Let's get to see an example. Ayan. In the Indonesian Journal of Applied Linguistics, ito yung names, nandiyan. Volume 11, number 3, that's January 2022, this year. Ito yung mga articles. Issues in Reading Comprehension, a case of an Indonesian bilingual dyslexic student. Okay, so I think this is qualitative. CLIL, implemented and scaffolded, and so nandiyan yung name. Readiness of autonomous English language learning, the case of Indonesian undergraduate students. Cross-linguistic influence of propositional and lexical semantic errors in Indonesian, and then yung name. Okay, so there is the volume number, the issue number, and then the year of publication. Validity and reliability. Okay, so we have to also examine the journal where we are publishing. Kasi may mga journals na malaking scam. Okay, and we call these journals as predatory journals, especially if the journal is asking so much from us. Or may mga money-making journals. Okay, like it will ask you 50,000 pesos, 40,000, grabe na yun, di ba? 50,000 pesos, 40,000 pesos, 25,000 pesos. Okay? Pero kung mga 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, okay pa yun. Okay? Pero yung mga ganun, yung 50,000, that's alarming. Diba? So we have to check, ano ba to? Predatory ba to or not? And we have a mechanism on that. Yeah, mamaya tuturo ko sa inyo. So, to check the validity and reliability, we can check the process. How do they do the review? We call it peer review. Okay? And then dito yung ginagawa nilang processes. So your paper passes through different processes. Okay? Like it undergoes the single blind, it may undergo double blind, an open peer review, tapos makikita mo doon yung mga instructions. Kaya mamaya, during our Writeshop number 1, I'll let you explore one journal that, you know, you feel like you want to publish on that. Okay, the writing style. Okay, so ito yung tinatawag nating author's guidelines. And this is the part, okay, where we have to study, okay, the specific instructions of the journal. Kasi sometimes, like what I said, researchers get rejected because they fail to follow the guidelines. So, kailangan natin ito na studyhan. And when we are writing, kung nagsusulat ka pala ng paper, okay, if you magpa-follow guidelines, ang meaning. Okay? If you want to choose this, well, the guidelines of the specific journal where you want to publish. Okay? So you have to follow the author's guidelines. Kasi every journal, like what I said, is unique. Okay? And every journal has its own author's guidelines. So kagaya nito, balikan muna natin, sir. Okay. It has its general manuscript submission guidelines. There are 9 guidelines. And then meron tayong journal technical guidelines. Authors are required to use the style template. So meron siyang template na pinapagamit sa'yo. Hindi po pwedeng ikaw yung gagawa ng sarili mong template. Kasi hindi pa nga yan mag-undergo ng peer review, i-reject na yan. Because in the first place, it did not follow the template of the journal. Okay? Next, of course, it has its references. So, how does a research journal look like? Okay, kung sana sige, mamaya na lang. Anyway, I'll let you navigate one. At naipakita ko naman yung the interface of a journal web. Sige sir, next slide na lang. You can visit these active links. Okay, the type of journal. Una-una yung refereed. Ano yung ibig sabihin ng refereed? Kasi sometimes we get to hear is refereed, but what is refereed? A refereed journal contains articles that have undergone a peer review process. So we can sometimes see it's locally refereed, it's nationally refereed, or international refereed. Ito international refereed, meaning it is reviewed by international experts. Okay, and nakikita mo yan doon sa editorial board. Tingnan mo yung editorial board. International nga ba? Diba? So you also have to fact check kung baga, okay, from Indonesia, India, Philippines, or US, and so on and so forth. So, yung pangalawa is indexed. Titingnan mo din ito kung indexed ba ito. So, isang international refereed, pero hindi sa indexed, are lists of journals which are considered of higher quality than journals that are not. This is because journals have to go through a vetting process or a fact-checking process to be included, gaya ng Scopus, International Scientific Indexation, Semantic Scholar, Google Scholar, okay, and so on and so forth. So, yung pamantayan is, the more indexation, okay, of a journal has, the higher the quality of the journal. the higher the quality of, there's a higher quality of the journal. The quality of the journal. Indexation and reputation, saan ba ito naka-index? Kasi baka walang index, hindi siya naka-index sa any indexation database, and that's going to be predatory. Okay? Next, we can, actually we can check the credibility, okay, of the journal versus predatoriness through the bills list. B-E-A-L-L, bills list. Paki-check nga sa, sino may internet ngayon? Nga, i-check nyo. Kasi walang internet yung laptop, di ba? Or HTTPS. Okay, maganda yan sir. International Journal of Educational Research. Kunyari, napili yung International Journal of Educational Research. Tapos, later on, tapos kayo ng paper, following the author's guidelines, later on, nagpalit kayo ng journal, ano na lang, qualitative report. So, it will actually waste your time. Kasi na, International Journal of Educational Research's author's guidelines is different from the qualitative report. So, back to zero ka kasi kailangan mong i-follow yung qualitative report. Okay? So, again, I emphasize that each journal has its own writing style, okay? Or mechanics, or tinatawag natin author's guidelines. Ano na kung nakita nyo? I-compare nyo nga, one journal over another, magkaiba talaga yung kailang hinihingi. So if you do not follow that, okay, you have a higher possibility of getting rejected. So, yun yung iniwasan natin kasi na, daw sa mga time. Getting published is also an avenue. I-connect ko lang sila yung publish. It's also an avenue of collaboration. Hindi lang sa academic or institutional level, inter-institutional level. Okay? Example, kasi pag nagpapublish kayo, hindi sila na kayo. Kasi people read your, or people read your paper, okay? Your article. So, for example, Sir Allen, what is your field of discipline? So management. Let's say, yung kanyang mga publications are into management, okay, or social sciences. So he or she or you, okay, become an expert of that field. So people will ask your help or your expertise, okay, to, for example, collaborate with them, okay, or another university. Okay, for example, right now, I'm working with Samar State University for a research project. We collaborate, no? LNU and SSU for a project on Samar culture. Since I'm from Samar, I also participated in the activity. So this is a high tendency of our chance or opportunity of collaboration. So in Abuyog, you can actually collaborate with us. Okay? You can collaborate with other institutions. You can collaborate with DepEd. You can make your, you can always invent research in any activity. As your extension, meron ba kayong extension dito or community engagement, you can actually subject it to a research para maging research-based siya. Ano yung example, Doc, ng isang yung isang extension ninyo? Isang example ng extension. Okay, make it research based. Okay, first, yung needs analysis. Diba? Research yun. Yung productivity, research yun. Post, extension activity, research yun. Yun, maganda yan. You can make it as well. At the same time, extension na research based na. No? Parang ano siya, you're hitting one goal with two objectives.
Alright,
Last 2 minutes. Session 2, scholarly writing techniques. Just review lang naman para mamaya, when we write, if you are aided with the techniques. Alright, time is over. Balik na tayo sa ating mga upuan. Welcome back to our session. We are now on session 2, scholarly writing techniques. Okay, ano yung mga writing techniques that will help us write our paper? We have the following. We will review on evaluating and finding references, citing oral and textual information, referencing references, in building scholarly paragraphs. Okay, so medyo madugo ito. Isa-isahin kasi natin yung mga techniques. Okay, bakit ko ina-introduce ulit yung mga techniques? Kasi later on, when you write your paper, I want that your paper is foundational. May pundasyon. Okay? May pundasyon yung mga papel natin. Hindi. Kasi, pag ito ay walang structure, you will have two problems. Ano yung dalawang problema na i-face natin? Unang-una, hindi natin alam kung paano ito isulat. Pangalawa, hindi natin alam kung ano yung isusulat. Diba? Di na nga kita maaram kung ano yung isusulat, di ba kita maaram kung paano isulat. So at least to minimize the problem, okay? Mamaya content na lang, at least alam mo na yung process. Yung process is easier for us to finish the paper. So let's review how do we find the references? A reference material can be a book. It can be a journal, an article, a thesis or dissertation in the library, manuals and handbooks, constitution and bylaws, official documents, media prints, newspapers, magazines, and among others. That can be a reference for your paper. Okay? Pero, I would require you to focus on books and journal articles. Okay? When I teach research to my students, I only let them focus on the two, books and journal articles. Okay? Kung hindi talaga sila makahanap ng mga references, especially for cultural and literary research, kasi there is a dearth or a limited number of research papers for these disciplines, di ba yung mga cultural, literary, pwede hindi ka alam ko sila. Pero for those well-researched, why? Because these materials or references are used or peer-reviewed or published in journals. Mas maupay kung aton mga reference materials published. Why? Because when your paper gets published, it makes a network. Remember that we are using the internet. Diba? So when your paper meets an internet-based publication or paper, there's a higher possibility that your paper also, diba, is mentioned, diba, or cited, or is easily found by people, by researchers. Kaya nga, sometimes we use research web accounts, diba, kagaya na we subscribe to ResearchGate, Academia, LinkedIn. Kasi nga, ito yung mga yung mga webs na makakapag-international collaborate tayo. Okay? So, ayan. So, kung mas maupay ko mag-focus kita journals. Okay? Mas maupay mag-focus kita journals. Okay. Why do we need, by the way, to make use of references? To avoid, of course, plagiarism. Diba? And we acknowledge these. To avoid plagiarism, here are different examples or types of plagiarism. We'll not review that kasi i-discuss yun sa klase. So, where can we find these internet-based materials or references? Meron tayong tinatawag na Open Educational Resources, or OER. Familiar with that? Open Access Free Teaching Learning Research Materials. And the two types of OER, according to world learning, are public domain and the open copyright. But the public domain is a reference can be used by someone anytime and anywhere, even without the attribution of the owner. Right? Kagaya ng, there are some websites that provide materials without even requiring you to cite. Pero in research, citation is ethical. Okay, kailangan mag-cite tayo kahit hindi tayo na-obliged. Okay? And then we have the open copyright. The material calls for citation as used and adopted. There are some public websites where we can visit and get our references. Google Scholar. Okay? No, dapat gamit ang Google Scholar.